Well, good evening to those of us who are in Central Time and joining live. If you're watching the recording of this, good morning or good afternoon. My name is Sarah Lucan. I use she, her pronouns, and I am happy to be here today to talk to you about the part-time MSW program at the Brown School at Washington University in St. Louis. Before we get started, I'm going to have my co-host introduce herself.
Thanks, Sarah. Hi, everyone. I'm Marcia Ford. I'm a professor of practice and director of the part-time program at the Brown School. I use pronouns she, her, and I'll be talking with you a little bit more about our program in a few minutes.
Great. Thanks, Marcia. Just a couple housekeeping notes before we get started with the actual presentation. Today's session is being recorded, so if you need to leave at any time, you can always come back and watch the recording on YouTube. We'll post that later this week. There are closed captions, and those can be activated at any time if you need them. Keep yourself on mute during the presentation. You're welcome to unmute during the Q&A portion of the session to ask questions, or you can use the chat feature to submit your questions. If we don't have a chance to answer your question, you can reach out to us at Brown Admissions at wustl.edu. And as a reminder, today we're going to be talking about the part-time MSW program. If you've got a specific question about other programs within the Brown School, you can reach out to us directly. And now I'm going to turn it over to Marcia to get us started.
All right. Thanks so much. I forgot to mention that I am actually a Brown School alum. I always leave that part off, and that's probably one of the most important things, right? I'm so happy to see you all here this evening, and I am excited that you are considering a career in social work. This year at the Brown School, we are celebrating 100 years of excellence in social work education. As we look forward to the next 100 years, we are dedicated to equity to ensure fairness and justice for all individuals and communities, and committed to impact to create meaningful and measurable improvements in people's lives. Our part-time MSW program may be completed in as little as 3 full years, and that includes summer semesters and taking summer courses. Our curriculum was designed to be different and has been thoughtfully planned to address contemporary social challenges in unique and impactful ways. At the Brown School, we emphasize evidence-based practice, where decisions and interventions are informed by the best available research to support individual client care, as well as larger policy and community interventions. Our curriculum focuses on equity across multiple dimensions: social, racial, economic, environmental, health, to ensure that students are aware of the systemic nature of inequality and prepared to create solutions in public policies, community development, and individual care settings. Our curriculum also teaches students to recognize and challenge power imbalances and systemic oppression with social structures and in professional practice. We integrate insights from fields such as public health, urban planning, education, and law to create well-rounded solutions to social issues and prepare students for multidisciplinary collaborations. And finally, we have embedded flexibility in our curriculum, and this allows students to tailor their learning experiences while balancing other work and life commitments. In the part-time program, students may choose from 3 concentration areas of study: the mental health concentration, social impact leadership concentration, or the children, youth, and families concentration. The mental health concentration is our most popular and largest concentration in both the part-time and full-time program. And the mental health concentration prepares students with a clinical focus to address mental health challenges in individuals as well as systems. Students who wish to pursue work with youth and families typically choose studies in the child behavioral health track of the mental health concentration. The part-time program was conceptualized to meet the demands of working professionals. We've developed a program that is accessible and maximizes both in-person and remote-based learning methods. Our intent with this format is to allow a great deal of flexibility, helping you reach your career goals while you balance the demands of being a student with families or perhaps work or other life commitments. The program is also based on a cohort model. This means that students with whom you enter the program will be your classmates in most of your classes as you progress through a sequenced curriculum. Our classes meet in a variety of settings. During in-person courses, you benefit from the dynamic nature of in-person learning and make connections with fellow cohort members and your instructors. Some courses, roughly half of your core foundation and concentration courses, are offered remotely. And for those classes, you will attend class or online synchronously or live at the same time with your classmates and your instructor. You might be asked to complete asynchronous content that's completed independently via recorded lectures, designated readings, or assignments. We also take advantage of intensive weekend learning formats in which students meet together in person over a series of weekends during a given semester. The sequencing of classes for the part-time program allows students to take up to 8 credit hours each semester. The classes that part-time students take are the exact same courses that full-time students experience. And then depending on your concentration and the electives you choose, you will have classes that are filled with colleagues from your part-time cohort as well as full-time students. So let's shift to the academic and student support you will receive as a student at the Brown School. A cornerstone of social work education is field education or practicum. Field education is where students integrate classroom knowledge with real-world experience to acquire and then demonstrate the skills and competencies that are fundamental to social work practice. Students complete a total of 960 hours, and that translates to 8 credits of practicum across the foundation practicum and the concentration practicum experiences. The primary focus of practicum experience is putting the skills that you learn in your courses into practice at your practicum site. At the Brown School, students choose their practicum sites and may select from over 400 partner organizations. You also would have the opportunity to complete practicum hours at your current place of employment. There's a process for that. We partner with a variety of agencies across the St. Louis region to provide students with experience at both the micro, meso, and macro levels of practice. From day one at the Brown School, you will also have a team of advisors working to support you. We engage in holistic advising for all MSW students. This means that you will interact with 3 to 4 different advisors during your studies at the Brown School. Your academic advisor ensures that you are registered for the classes you need and will provide you with information regarding academic support resources. Your faculty advisor will be a faculty member who is an expert in your chosen concentration of study. They help you connect your classroom experiences to real-world opportunities, and they also help advise you regarding your career goals. And then finally, you will be assigned to a field faculty advisor, and that advisor will assist you with your practicum search and support you during your field experience. In addition to your advisors, you will have a team of supporters guiding you through the MSW program. All of these programs and offices are located within the Brown School and are dedicated solely to serving MSW students. Our WashU students also receive support through our Center for Career Engagement. Staff in the center work with students to provide support in their search for jobs. This includes resume building sessions, career fairs, and mock interview opportunities. Our Brown School graduates are leaders, change makers, and innovators. Brown School alumni are driving social change in a variety of settings and positions, as you can see here. So now I'm going to turn it back over to Sarah, who will give you a little more information about the nuts and bolts of how to apply to the program.
Thanks, Marcia. So next I want to talk about the costs associated with earning a degree from the Brown School and then options for you to make that a reality. The part-time MSW tuition and fees are as follows for the current academic year. It is $1,600 per credit hour, and you enroll in 18 to 24 credit hours per year. Marcia mentioned you'll be in up to 8 credit hours per semester, and then that kind of gets evened out across the 3 semesters of the year. So your total annual cost will be anywhere between $28,800 and $38,400. Please note that these are the costs for the current academic year, and tuition and fees do change annually. We are proud to offer a variety of, or help you find a variety of options for funding your degree. The primary way that Brown School students fund their degree is through institutional funding from the Brown School. At the time that you are admitted, you will be awarded a Brown School scholarship if you would like to be considered for scholarship. You'll just note in your application that, yes, I would like to be considered for scholarship, and you'll complete a scholarship consideration form. These awards are partial awards only, so they will only cover part of your tuition costs. And so the rest of the costs can be covered through a combination of things like external grants and scholarships, which the Washington University Graduate Center maintains a really robust database full of scholarship opportunities. If you are a WashU employee, you may be able to take advantage of the tuition assistance program. And then some of our students will work either part-time or full-time if you're in the part-time program. And then fund through other sources like personal savings if you are eligible for any military or employer benefits through your current employer. And then federal student aid is also an option. So now I'm going to go through some important dates and details to consider as you begin the application process. These are our application requirements. They're pretty standard as far as a graduate application is concerned. We ask you to submit a personal statement, 2 letters of recommendation, a resume or a CV, transcripts. There is an interview component. This is an asynchronous interview that you can do in your own time. It takes about 20 minutes to complete on a platform that we partner with called Kira. Then that scholarship form I was talking about earlier that you'll want to complete if you'd like to be considered for scholarship, and an application fee, which is $50. Our early review deadline is December 1st, and what early review means for us is that you'll get a decision back from us about your admission no later than February 1st. You'll also be given priority consideration for scholarship. Now, our early review deadline is not a binding deadline. It does not mean that you have to commit to the Brown School, but it gives you a little more time to think through next steps and gives you that decision a little sooner. After December 1st, our priority review deadline is March 1st. And so if you need a little more time to think about your application and get those materials prepared, you have until March 1 to meet the priority review deadline. You'll receive a decision back from us between 6 and 8 weeks of submitting. We do go into rolling admissions after March 1st with a final applicant deadline of June 1. And right now, of course, we are accepting applications for fall 2025. We do only have 1 admission term per year, and it is the fall semester only. If you would like some more tips on submitting a strong application, those who are watching live are certainly welcome to ask during this session. We've got plenty of time, but I'm also hosting a session tomorrow at noon, going into detail about tips for submitting a strong application, so you can join that. And then on November 13th, also at noon, we'll be hosting an Ask Us Anything virtual info session. So if you have more questions and like this format, you can reach out to us there. There are other ways to connect with the admissions team, though. So as you begin the application, You can connect with a specialist if you'd like to visit campus. If you've never been at WashU or the Brown School, we are really proud of our beautiful facilities and would love to show you around. So you can schedule a campus tour, or you can just reach out to us if you've got any questions. Speaking of questions, and that's what we're going to shift to now. I am going to stop sharing my screen so that I can see everyone here in the live session. And we'll open it up for questions.
I have a question. How big are the cohorts?
Great question. Marcia, do you want to?
Yeah, absolutely. This past year, we admitted 13 students. As I said, most of those students were interested in mental health. So I think 10 of the 13 students are actually in that mental health track. This was our third cohort. The previous two cohorts had a few less students, but this past year we're at about 13 students.
Oh, that's great. Kind of my, I guess, kind of what I'm hoping to do is to do the first year, while I'm not in St. Louis, and then we're moving to St. Louis and kind of finish it in person. From my understanding, it sounds like there's enough classes for the first year to do just totally online. I mean, maybe coming for a few weekends. Am I understanding that correctly?
It's a possibility. Typically we have one class that meets virtually and then one class that meets in person. We try to make that in-person class, particularly in the first year for the foundation classes, a weekend class. So if you were able to come in person for the weekends and then the weekly class is online, we'll know a lot more about the fall schedule around the first of the year, January, February-ish. We should have an idea of who is available to teach which classes, and can definitely talk more about that to see if that would work for you before the deadlines, before the application deadlines.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's fantastic. I do have another question. Sorry, I'm not
Sure, go
keep
ahead.
going, but I know you mentioned there's partial scholarship. I mean, how much is like partial scholarship? Is that typically half? Typically, what kind of,
Yeah,
is it
that's a great
$1,000? You know,
question.
I just don't know the
Yeah.
range of partial.
No, of course, that's a great question. So on average, our students are getting an award that is around 40% of covering tuition costs. It could be more, it could be less, and that is because we use a really holistic approach to reviewing your application and then awarding scholarship. The scholarship award encompasses not only merit-based factors, but also need-based factors. And so in that form that you'll fill out, you'll tell us a little bit more about yourself beyond what we've learned about you in your application, because you may be eligible for certain scholarships based on your affiliation or experience with certain organizations, or maybe you have an interest in a certain, a topic area, and we have a scholarship that's specifically set aside for that. So we get a little more information about you through that scholarship form, about your affiliations with things. And then also we're going to ask you about your individual financial situation to help us just understand more about what you may be eligible for need-based wise. And we'll use those things in combination with your application to determine your scholarship award amount.
For sure, thanks.
I have
You're
a question.
welcome.
Can I
Go
ask?
ahead.
My question, I'm from Nepal. So also students from Nepal want to join that college and university and that program. The programs, as you shared, are very, very fantastic and very interesting for Nepali students. And these are also important to develop Nepal and Nepali society also. So, but the problem is, as students apply and they want to go those universities like that, but most of students in Nepal they face the visa problem. Always their visa is rejected and rejected every time. So they lost time and money and all energy they lost. So how the university facilitate that kind of problem? If so, so many students want to go there and to study and also come back in Nepal, then they can contribute more and more to the Nepali society, and they will be very great figure to change the society. So that kind of education, as you explained, the mental, social issues and development, sustainability, so many things, these are very, very great subjects and areas to change the nation. This is my question, please.
Great, thanks, Min. Well, first, just want to say thank you for so much for your interest in the Brown School and in our programs. I do want to be really clear that this program that we're talking about this evening is a part-time program that is available only to domestic students. However, we do have a full-time program that international students are eligible to apply for, and we would very much welcome your application to that program if you can do it full-time. The reason being is that the university in the United States requires that international students are enrolled in more than 9 credit hours a semester. You have to be a full-time student in order to be enrolled in a US-based program. So you'd have to apply to the full-time program. But we would certainly welcome your application. And I'd actually, I'd encourage you to reach out to us so we could have a more one-on-one conversation about your unique just interests. So if you want to reach out to us at brownadmissions@woostel.edu, I can get you connected with an admission specialist.
Okay, good. But I got your point. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. All right, looks like there's a question in the chat. As a recent McKelvey grad, spring 24, congratulations. Now working full-time in data science, I know that there is a DCDS PhD with McKelvey. What are the opportunities for integrating social impact track with my current field and specialty, that being ethical data science in healthcare and patient care setting? Very cool. So it will really depend on what the PhD program in McKelvey allows students to do as far as taking electives outside of McKelvey. We do have students from all across the university taking some of our courses because a lot of students have elective courses that they're able to do with whatever they would like. So that being said, you may be able to take some of those courses. It would just be a matter of talking with McKelvey to see what that process looks like from their end, and then letting us know kind of what courses you're thinking about. Do I have that right, Marcia?
Absolutely. And unfortunately, because the part-time student, it's important to note, and I don't know if you were getting at this or not. Oh, you're trying to decide whether to do the PhD or take it slow versus the MSW. Gotcha. And what I was going to say is because of the part-time students and their limit of 8 hours or less, we don't offer part-time students the opportunity to obtain a dual degree. We have a couple of dual degrees between the law school with public health and an MSW, and the law school and seeking an MSW. I think there might be another one that I'm forgetting, Sarah. I can't remember. But with the part-time students, because the requirements typically in the other schools require you to take a full-time load, we aren't able to offer dual programming for an MSW with other degrees in the school, at the university. In terms of doing the MSW first with social impact leadership is really designed for people who have already been in the field for a bit and worked in a social services arena, and they are coming back to basically get experience, education in leadership and managing from a social work perspective. So I'm not sure that the SI given that you are interested in data science, healthcare, patient settings, I'm not sure the SIL track is probably the best fit. Maybe we could talk further if you want to set up an appointment. We can talk a little bit more about what the mental health concentration offers, and what you can do with your electives with that. But just hearing this brief amount of information, it sounds like perhaps mental health may be a better route for you.
Awesome. Thanks, Marcia.
Yeah.
All right, I see another question from an employee at WashU School of Medicine, wanting to know if this is the same program as CAPS. So that's the School of Continuing and Professional Studies. Interested in getting an MSW and PhD degree as an employee. Very cool. So this is not the same program. This program is offered solely through the Brown School, so it is not offered through the School of Continuing and Professional Studies. It's through the Brown School. The MSW and PhD degree, kind of going off of what Marcia was just talking about with the dual degree, you do have to be enrolled in those full-time in order to do a dual degree. Because of the way that the part-time is structured, it's really tricky to kind of do the credit sharing that happens with the dual degrees, because in the part-time you're in this cohort model and it's a very prescribed track. So you're taking courses in a really specific sequence that makes it really challenging to do the dual degree. So that's why we only allow full-time students to do a dual degree. You can still apply as an employee. I believe that would be a conversation with your department specifically to think through, like, can you do this full time if you want to do both degrees? Because right now there's also not a part-time in the MPH. So that could change though. There is a School of Public Health that is being launched very soon, and things could be very different in a couple of years. But right now you'd have to do them full time. Right. Very cool, Eleanor, that your sister is actually a Brown School grad. Just keep it in the family. More Brown School grads in the family. All right, Jill has a question about how many in the current cohort are pursuing social entrepreneurship, so the social impact leadership. Did you say, was it just 2 or 3, right?
I'm so sorry. I was trying to find the unmute, but yes, across the first 3 cohorts, we have 3 students. And there's a social entrepreneurship track as well as an innovation or leadership and track within SIL. So actually, most of our students are looking at that leadership track. So it's actually the SIL program, or the SIL concentration is for the full-time students actually a very small cohort as well. It's was developed, I think, in 2020, just before the pandemic started. So they've had a little bit slower launch in that concentration.
Thanks, Marcia. All right, I am putting our main Brown admissions email into the chat right now, and then I'll share my slide again. So if anyone wants to reach out directly to Marcia or myself, you're very welcome to do that. Just do that again. There's our contact information. We are at 6:30, so we'll go ahead and say so long. But thank you all so much for joining, and let us know if there are any other questions that we can answer.
Have a good evening.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.